All right, guys. So, more big news coming from Coinbase. I mean, what are they not doing? Who are they not partnering with at this point? This is from Blockworks. We're going to take a look at an article from Blockworks. This is the actual post from Coinbase themselves. If you guys didn't see the last stream, yes. Oh, never mind. Coinbase changed their background photo. If you wanted to see what Coinbase's background photo was yesterday, briefly, let's take a look because this is absolutely hilarious. And yes, if you guys didn't see, temporarily, Coinbase's backdrop photo was Brian Armstrong's bald head. Who is Brian Armstrong? He's the CEO of the company. There's actually a good documentary called Coin that Brian Armstrong starred in. His parents were in it. It's a great documentary. Go check that out, guys. Coinbase has been a company since 2012. They're really pushing the space forward. People have mixed reviews on Coinbase. I've been a Coinbase user for 4+ years. Yes, there are issues, customer support issues. They're a massive growing company. However, let's focus on the real things here, guys. American Express launches travel stamp NFTs on Base, the Base network that is Coinbase's blockchain. Let's read more into this because this is very interesting. And this also isn't the first partnership that Coinbase has with American Express. So let's get into this. Crypto wallets are spun up on the back end to facilitate Amex's latest blockchain push. This is so sick, guys. This is very interesting. This is the future of cryptocurrencies, of blockchain. So appreciate you guys for tapping in. On the way in, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Follow us here on X. Let's break this down and get into it. Alrighty then. So, miscollecting stamps in your passport, question mark? American Express is now giving US cardholders on-chain travel, quote unquote, stamps for each country visited around the world. Each digital stamp within the Amex passport feature has an associated piece of art that will be an ERC 721 token on Base. Wow. So, Colleen Marlowe, VP of Emerging Partnerships at Amex Digital Labs, explained in an interview with Blockworks. So, guys, quick disclaimer. Obviously, they say it is not a real passport, though. So don't bother showing the customs officer your app of full NFTs when you're getting off a flight, getting on a flight, wherever the hell you're going. All right, that would be pretty embarrassing if you're getting on a flight and, oh, here's my Bored Ape. They're not going to care, guys. Okay? But this is the future of NFTs. Okay? I want to talk, I should have pulled this up already, but if you guys stick with me real quick. Gary Vaynerchuk on the future of NFTs. Now, Gary Vaynerchuk has been talking about NFTs for a long time. And I remember specifically in 2023, a couple years ago, talking about this because Gary V talked about what the future of NFTs could look like, not just a silly picture of digital art, but it could be much more than that, right? A non-fungible token, that's what NFT stands for. It's really just a representation of digital ownership. So Gary Vaynerchuk believes the NFT space is in a long-term frosty period after a speculative bubble, but the underlying blockchain technology remains valuable. So he anticipates a future where NFTs are less about collectibles and more about real-world utility as quote-unquote digital contracts for everything from tickets to receipts to proof of ownership for digital and even physical assets. And I mean, this right here is just the latest example of what an NFT could represent outside of a Bored Ape or an image of digital art that was seemingly a bubble a couple years ago. Now, I'm not writing off the future of NFTs being a representation of digital art or a collectible or having a piece of maybe something physical, which we've also seen as well. Basically, you can tokenize physical collectible items and you can own a piece of that, if that makes sense. But the future of NFTs is ever evolving, and I think Gary Vaynerchuk makes a great point. So Amex is backdating stamps to get cardholders started with their collections and will add stamps from the countries users have visited in the past 2 years to start. Interesting. A crypto wallet for each Amex mobile app user, custodied and operated by Amex, is spun up on the back end when users access the feature. Stamps are minted as tokens behind the scenes as card holders use their Amex cards at different locations around the world. That's wild. Quote unquote, we're trying to do it in such a way that it's not so in someone's face, Marlowe said. But card holders won't see the wallet that's spun up, that's abstracted away, won't be directly engaging with the blockchain at all, and won't be able to trade stamps. Well, why would you be able to do that? The stamps aren't introducing card holders to crypto per se. They're supposed to be a way to feel just a little bit more fulfilled about global travel in an increasingly digital age. All right. If that's how you guys feel. Great. That's very interesting. This is a very interesting concept, guys. Coinbase, Base, partnering with seemingly everybody under the sun right now. I did mention already Coinbase has an existing partnership with American Express. So why don't we read that? This is CoinDesk. Coinbase partners with American Express to launch the Coinbase One card. Now, this was a couple months ago, guys. If you have Coinbase, the app, all you have to do is click a button, go to the app on your phone now if you haven't done it already, and you're interested in using a credit card that will give you 4% cash back in Bitcoin on your purchases, then go to the Coinbase app right now and you can get to submit on the waiting list. So very interesting, all right? But this is what they're doing here, Coinbase and American Express. Now, the card is, let's look at this video again. The card is very sleek. Are they going to play it? The card is very sleek. Let's take a look at this. Very interesting looking card. Are they going to show it? There it is. Take a look. It's got all these numbers on it, like a representation of an actual blockchain. I guess they're not really showing it in this video. So, yeah, there it is. Pretty sick looking. Spend dollars, make Bitcoin. Yeah, very interesting concept, guys. So Base is out here doing a lot. All right, it's their second partnership with American Express. Now, I'm going to stay on this for a second. This is the card. It looks sick, guys, right? Supposedly it's like a metal card. It's nice, right? But I'm going to stay on here for a second because I want to talk to you guys about this. It's good, Gandhi. I want to talk to you guys about this. So I had a conversation with Caspa Silver on our YouTube channel recently. If you guys haven't watched that interview yet, we're over 3,000 views on that one. Hour-long interview with Caspa Silver. Go on YouTube right now. Go to the Coin Zone and watch that interview. Great interview. You're going to learn a lot about Bitcoin and about Caspa. But the issue with something like this, as a user of the Coinbase debit card myself, we also have a video on that as well. You can, see how I use that in my everyday life. The only issue with that, the issue with Bitcoin, is when you go to send that from your wallet from Coinbase to wherever you want to move it, cold storage, whatever, the fee is high. The fee is a lot. This is one of the issues with Bitcoin. So let's say I have $15 in rewards that added up after my purchases in Bitcoin. If I go to send that, it's going to take away like $7 or $8, something like that, in the fees when I go to just send. What the hell is the point? That's basically a 50% tax. What is the point? It basically almost defeats the purpose of accumulating Bitcoin over time with your purchases. It basically centralizes that money and forces you to keep it on Coinbase if you don't want to lose that percentage via the sending and the fee. So be wary of that. But these are all very interesting concepts. Me personally, I'm looking to wait until the Cardano card is rolled out because that is a decentralized on a blockchain. It's not a Coinbase company backed by or anything like this. It's much different, and I wouldn't have to send my rewards anywhere. It would be held on the Cardano blockchain. So it's already going to be where I want it to be. And it's going to be able to have staking and borrowing and lending right there all in one platform. That's what I'm interested in waiting for. Back to this, guys. Back to the Stamps, American Express launches travel stamps on Base. So Amex chose to put the stamps on chain as NFTs because blockchain assets can give a greater sense of permanence, Marlowe explained. Quote unquote, we really are hoping again to capture a customer at the end of their journey when they're commemorating and thinking about where they've gone in the hopes that they get inspired again and do something with us the next time. It's not surprising that Amex is minting the travel stamps on Base. In June, Coinbase revealed the Coinbase One card. Yep, there we go. How about that? Just brought it up. As I've said before, both Coinbase and Amex are positioning themselves as premium brands. Through that means using them comes with higher fees compared to other options in the market. I literally just said this. So yeah, I mean, this is very cool, very innovative. It's just the start. In 2 years, in 5 years, I'm very curious to see all the other options are going to be out there, centralized and decentralized on, basically representing DeFi. That's what I'm more interested in, guys. But this is cool. This is very sick. It's a good start. Very interesting. CoinDesk. Yep. Coinbase releases the same thing, different article. So, as an identifier or representation of history, the stamps could create interesting partnership angles over time. We weren't trying to sell these or sort of generate any short-term revenue. The angle is to make a travel experience with Amex feel really rich, really different, and kind of set it apart. Fireblocks is also involved, supporting Amex as its wallet as a service provider for the passport product, a Fireblocks representative said. This is really cool though, guys. This is very interesting. Back to Gary V. Now, I really want to maybe take a look at some clips if we can find this here. Damn it. They want me to go on Facebook. Really? Facebook? What are we doing here, guys? So we're going to do this real quick. I'm going to just pull up Gary V and the future of NFTs. And we're going to try to get this going as a quick video just to wrap this up, because I want to really drive home how NFTs is not just silly little pictures of monkeys or something, guys. There is real value and utility in the future of NFTs. So, not sure how long this clip is, but I am going to just remove this and we are going to add something else to the screen here. Gerald Vandersteen. Just kidding. I don't know why I just said that. Gary V. We all know Gary Vaynerchuk. He's the GOAT. We love Gary, right? Now, Gary's a very, very smart man. He has seen innovations, invested in innovations before they became big things. It's how he made a lot of his money. He's very sound up here, and he knows what the future looks like. So let's listen to some things. This is just last week, guys. Basically, what Gary V said about NFTs, collectibles, and the blockchain.
When I was making all those videos saying 99% of these NFTs are going to go to zero, they didn't hear me because they were too infatuated with the short-term greed. $124 million worth of NFTs were sold last week. If you ask all the people that are in business and culture how many NFTs were sold last week, some would say none, let alone $124 million. Digital collectibles is real. The problem was everybody thought every NFT was going to be worth something. That would be like saying every piece of art, every watch, every sneaker, every trading card, every comic book is worth something. Only the 1% are going to be worth something. Crypto, Bitcoin, nobody got burned by. That was the right cryptocurrency. All the crazy meme coins and silly cryptocurrencies that came up, they didn't have a real usage. They didn't have enough demand, sustained demand. So much like, by the way, do you know how many people have lost money in real estate? Do you know how many people have failed becoming a content creator and podcast? Do you know how many people have lost money in the stock market? This was about short-term new. Notice how I brought up the stock market in 2000 with internet companies. When there's something new, James, there's the people early in it like myself, but we talk about long-term ups and downs. Then there's the people who are just in it to make a quick buck. cannabis industry, right? It's all the same stuff, James. There's so many people thinking there's a quick buck. They all think it's a sprint, when in reality, it's always a marathon.
Very interesting point. They always think it's a sprint, when in reality, it's a marathon. And that is consistent to what we say here on this channel all the time, guys. We all know you want to make a quick buck. You want to improve the situation that you're in now. We get it, guys. We 100% get it. Gandhi, NFTs are actually bigger than standard crypto tokens. You can do so much more with NFTs than you can with a fungible token. And from a developer point of view, it's massive. Absolutely. It's a great point, Gandhi. And I'm going to find more information here to drive that home with Gary V. They're going to make me go on Facebook for that one. But that's a 4-minute clip where I feel like that's a good clip to watch. Let's see what happens if they make me log in. I don't want to log in, guys. All right, let's get it here.
When I was making all those videos saying 99% of these NFTs, nobody got burned by. There's the people early in it, always a marathon. So what do I tell them? Tell them that the blockchain is one of the most important technologies in the world. And in fact, in this AI era, where there's gonna be a lot of fake, the blockchain is the only thing that can prove true.
Fact.
I think Bitcoin is a profound technology that is the first thing that has a potential to be gold. Do you know that gold existed before we decided it was worth something? Got it? And I think in NFT lands, that, for example, with VeeFriends, I believe if God willing, I will stay healthy, that over the next 50 years of my hard work, I will make my characters as important as Spider-Man and Superman and Mickey Mouse and Pikachu and Harry Potter. And if I do that, then VeeFriends Series 1 NFTs will be highly collectible and worth lots of money, just like all the comic books and trading cards and toys and books of those other IPs. And I think many other people will do that because there won't be just one Disney or one Sesame Street or one Transformers or one Care Bears. Pop culture collectibles dominate eBay, trillions of dollars. There's somebody right now buying a Rainbow Bright from 1984 for $100 because it's in good condition.
Yeah.
And so if I'm good enough of an entrepreneur to do that, and then there'll be artists like Andy Warhol and Jackson Pollock. There's NFT artists, but again, that's collectibles. That's a 1% of 1%. You have to know what to collect and invest in. That's like art and collectibles. That's a different game. But do I think that people will be collecting NFTs and the NFTs will go up? Of course, it's happening right now. It was just that everybody got caught up in the fad of it all. NFTs are not Beanie Babies. NFTs are stuffed animals. Got it? That's the important part, right? The projects are either Beanie Babies or Labubu or Cabbage Patch Kids or Rainbow Bright or Transformers or Power Rangers. Disney stuffed animals have continued to grow because Disney has been relevant for 50 years.
Gandhi, I see your comment, brother. So sorry, Gary, in this video still only sees NFTs as collectibles. I'm saying the technology of NFTs is so much more than that. You're right. This is not really what I'm referring to. Gary in the past has referred to NFTs as much more than collectibles. He's just basically referring to his own NFT collection that he roped out. I'm having a little difficulty finding the video, but this was still interesting to listen to Gary lend this perspective. But when you understand that an NFT, let's see if this might be it, this article from the New York Post. Let's give you one example. An NFT in the future could be the pink slip to your car. Instead of having a physical documentation of a pink slip of ownership of your vehicle, it could be an NFT that can hang out in one of your digital wallets. Does that make sense? So the 49-year-old CEO and media personality invested in Facebook in its infancy and built an audience on YouTube in the early 2000s by posting daily. If you don't know who Gary Vee is, you might live under a rock, but he's an East Coast legend, New York legend. All right. What is with all these freaking, get out of here, bro. These freaking advertisements. God damn. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, this isn't really the best in regards to Gary Vee. NFTs aren't totally dead. Okay. Non-fungible tokens are contracts you can't F with. They can't burn down in a building. They can't disappear off the face of the earth, said the entrepreneur. It's Let's read more into this. Vaynerchuk thinks that the technology behind NFTs, namely the blockchain they are recorded on, is impressive enough and it will make a comeback. Blockchain is profound, and I think digital assets will also find their way there. Noting that the blockchain could be used to authenticate luxury items, track goods in a supply chain, or store documents indefinitely. That's it. Store documents indefinitely. My great-grandmother used to tell me her family had a 500-acre farm that was taken by the Bolsheviks, and it was gone, he said. If that deed sat on the blockchain, my great-grandparents could take claim to that land one day. There we go. Gandhi, is that better? That's where we're getting at. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There we go. Cool. Yeah, this is what I've been looking for. I remember 2+ years ago talking about this, and it kind of opened my mind because at the time, NFTs were basically just pictures of monkeys and stuff like that, the collectible side of things. But once you really understand what the underlying technology can do, it can be so much more. Now, for example, this isn't NFTs, but we saw Avalanche do something recently in New Jersey when it comes to putting real estate on the blockchain. You have deeds, right? Whatever that settlement time was traditionally, right? With traditional underlying technologies, it would take 60 days, right? For this, for this real estate. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it would take 60 days for this to settle. Now with this blockchain tech, it takes 1 day, 24 hours. This is very similar. If I bought a house, the deed to the house, instead of a physical documentation or something that could be stripped away from me in regards to ownership, you can't do that on a blockchain. Like Gary said, it's something you can't F with. If it sits in my personal digital wallet and it's on a secure blockchain, you're not getting that from me. That's the whole point. Pretty crazy. NFTs have always been NFTs. It's just the first use was pictures. Then people thought that's all they are. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. Once you start realizing that there's much more of a use case behind the underlying technology, then things start to open up. And Gary saw this very early on. It's very interesting to talk about the future of NFTs. Maybe we'll do an interview. We'll try to do an interview with somebody on this. But again, guys, just to drive it home, NFTs can be much more than what you think. It can be more than a picture. It can be more than digital art. Right now, obviously, we started this stream because Coinbase is doing this partnership with Amex. So when it comes to a digital passport, you'll have ownership of, I guess, the places that you've been in a digital sense, as opposed to a stamp on a physical passport. So all those pages in your passports, how the rappers talk about, oh, girl, you got stamps on your passport. Now I'm flying you around the world. Yes. Right? What are they going to say now? Ooh, girl, now I got you a digital NFT wallet with Ibiza on it. Ooh, yeah. That's going to be the new flex. You're going to hear rappers talking about digital passports, flying out their girls with digital passports, right? This is going to be the new wave. Everything is turning digital, guys. It's turning in a slightly different direction, but I was driving around yesterday and I saw a homeless person. And I was thinking in my head, they're screwed in the future. These people are absolutely screwed in the future with holding up a cardboard sign, can I have $1? Who has cash on them now? Who has physical cash on them nowadays? Everything is digital, guys. In another 10 years from now, how much cash do you actually think is going to be out there in circulation? In 10 years from now, there's going to be a lot less physical cash in circulation. As a matter of fact, governments globally are pushing for that because they can't trace cash. Cash is a little bit more freedom, right? So governments don't want that anymore. They want to have as much control as possible. And that's why there is a push back against some of these technologies, because these technologies are giving power back to the people. Like Gary Vee said, talking about the Bolsheviks, which is crazy, by the way. History didn't teach you a single thing about the Bolsheviks. If you want to learn history, Why do they leave those individuals out? Why do they leave that group of people out, the Bolsheviks? I didn't learn about them. Very interesting, though. So supposedly, get away with these freaking ads. So supposedly, Gary Vee's great-grandmother had 500 acres of farm that was taken from them by the Bolsheviks. And he says if that deed sat on a blockchain, his great-grandkids could claim that land one day because it only is about ownership of something. And again, guys, all throughout human history, ownership, like if you own physical gold, the counterparty risk there is that it can be physically stolen from you, right? If you have gold sitting in a safe somewhere, right? We hear Robert Kiyosaki owns a shit ton of gold and silver. Well, he keeps a lot of it in a Swiss bank, right? So if obviously Robert Kiyosaki lives right where I live, very, very close to where I live here in Arizona, right? If I knew Gary had physical gold and I was some criminal and I wanted to go steal this gold from Robert Kiyosaki, you know, I could, in theory, go to his house and physically take it. But no, Gary, you know, Robert's not stupid. He has a lot of his physical gold and silver in a Swiss bank. However, like, this is the answer to that issue that I just named, right? I would have absolutely no way, hypothetically, to go steal Robert's gold or silver if it was held digitally, especially if there was, as an NFT is. An NFT, all an NFT is a representation of ownership of something. And again, guys, if it's on a ledger, a blockchain that is secure in a digital wallet somewhere, there's no way that you're getting that. If you own it, you're good. There's no way someone can take it from you. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of this technology. So, you know, if you haven't thought of NFTs in this way before, I'm glad maybe this live stream right now is helping you open your eyes to the possibilities and the underlying technology of what is an NFT, a non-fungible token, right? So just think about that in more detail because, you know, Gandhi, I appreciate the comments too. As a developer, Robert brought gold mines now. He went to the source. Well, he's always had gold mines. He's had gold mines, and, you know, he talked about publicly for a long time when he bought a gold mine in China a long time ago. Well, guess what happened there? Counterparty risk. What happened? They finally struck gold. What happened? China said, oop, that's ours now. Classic China. Right? There's no way they would be able to do that if it was digital. But that's the point. And you are right, Gandhi. Robert owns physical gold and silver mines. Very interesting. But again, the one time he did that in China, they just straight up took it from him. You can't do that with an NFT. That's the power. That's the power of NFTs, and that's the power of a blockchain. Very, very interesting. Digital ownership, guys. Once again, a quick example, a deed to a car. If you went and bought a car at a dealership or exchanged in the future, even if, you know, you went on Carvana or cars.com, in 5 or 10 years from now, that exchange could literally involve a blockchain where you have a physical picture, a digital picture that would be sent to a wallet of yours that represents ownership of the vehicle, as opposed to traditionally, you know, you're going to get a digital photo maybe, but that doesn't mean you have ownership of that. You know, most of the time still we need physical documentation. And that digital photo, if it's not an NFT on a blockchain, could be corrupted or edited or messed with, something like that. But if it's a blockchain, it can't be effed with, as Gary said. You know, it can't be stolen from you. It can't be edited or changed. None of that. This is the future, guys. So shout out to Coinbase, shout out to Amex, shout out to Gary Vee. This is the first time I talked about Gary Vee ever on the lives, which is wild to me. Gary Vee's the man. You know, we've all literally fuck your parents. Okay? If you want to make a living, you got to take risk. Okay? That's my bad Gary Vee impression. It's been a minute since I've done a Gary Vee impression. But East Coast legend, garage sale legend, and now NFT legend. Shout out to Gary Vee. I appreciate you guys for tapping in. This has been another edition here of A Live on the Coin Zone. I'm Crypto with Paul. If you guys haven't subbed yet here on YouTube, that's crazy. Go ahead and do that for me. If you guys don't follow us here on X, do that for me as well. I appreciate you guys. It's our last live of the day here Tuesday, September 16th. I'll be back a couple times tomorrow on Wednesday. We will be covering the Fed. Big news tomorrow, guys. The markets could, if we get a 50 basis point cut tomorrow, I think the markets are going to go freaking nuts. If it's 25, I think we're still going to see a bounce, but a lot of people think that it's already priced in. So maybe nothing too crazy, but it's still going to be very bullish, very positive. So we'll see what happens. Stick around. Make sure to join us live tomorrow as we're covering what Jerome Powell does. In the meantime, guys, play it cool, sub to the channel. I'll see you then.